Some breaking news, and it surrounds Marcel Sabitzer. Looks like he is going to Manchester United. We've just seen footage of him boarding a plane, or soon to be boarding a plane, to fly to the UK and get everything wrapped up. He's going to be a Manchester United player, and of course, this was absolutely a necessity. I mean, even myself as an Arsenal fan felt the need to comment on the fact that once that Eriksen injury, the details came through that he'd be out till probably the end of April, means he's probably going to be, well, not probably, definitely going to be missing that Carabao Cup final that everyone absolutely expects him to and Manchester United to play in. It means they had to get someone in. Ten Hag, I thought, spoke brilliantly earlier in the day when he said, we've still got some brilliant players. We've got others that we can use that can step up in Eriksen's absence. But Man United have acted decisively, quickly as well. They've seen an opportunity and they've gone and brought in Marcel Sabitzer. There was some interest from Chelsea. That's not pushed ahead. They're still looking to get the Enzo deal after letting Jorginho go to Arsenal. And yes, I'm shamelessly wearing an Italian jacket to celebrate the Jorginho signing. But my thoughts on that on another stream we did earlier. Today and right now we're here to talk about this Marcel Sabitzer deal. We'll have a look at some of his numbers at his previous clubs. We'll talk about him and his sort of profile player. We'll talk about what Eriksen's been doing as well for Manchester United, and sort of understand what Sabitzer's got to do to kind of maintain this momentum that Manchester United are having, this growth of the team. They've come so far under Ten Hag, and the signing of Eriksen when he came in as a free in the summer has been a big part of that. I think they're slightly different players, but I think they'll be asked to operate in very similar ways. As you can see, we've got a poll there. Man United fans, are you happy with Marcel Sabitzer? 88% of the 100 votes already, that's coming very quickly, are saying they're very happy. So keep your votes coming in. Madara says you're a big fan. Thank you very much. Appreciate that a lot, Madara. Thank you. Let me know your thoughts on the signing. Magu says he loves it. She says he loves it. Sensible, better than Jorginho, says Arsenal come back. Different players. Thank you, Evans, for joining the stream. Appreciate that a lot. Bayern flop bench player, says Raz. It didn't happen for him at Bayern. We know that. We'll go through his numbers in a second. What else have we got? Sean says, how can you celebrate that awful? I'm having a bit of fun. If you're talking about the Jorginho thing, I'm having a bit of fun. Relax. Let's talk about the player, because Sabitzer was at Leipzig for a long time. 229 appearances he made with 52 goals, 42 assists. I've got the numbers up here. I'm not just putting them out of my head. But that's a very decent return for quite a complete midfielder. Someone who has predominantly played his football in the central midfield. Quite rare you get players that aren't always specialists. Are you a 10? Are you a holding midfielder or whatever? He's got quite a lot to his game. Listen, I'm no expert on Sabitzer, I'll be very honest, but from what I've seen, looks a very complete midfielder who can do a little bit of everything in all areas of the pitch. 52 goals and 42 assists, so you're looking at 94 goal contributions in 229 appearances. That's, I mean, it's a bit off, but he's not far off entering the realms of a goal or an assist every 2 games, and that is a really decent return from midfield. Goals from midfield are not easy things to get. When you're Manchester United and you've got, without Weghorst leading the line, the kind of player who is about being a presence, laying the ball off for his midfielders, bringing others into play, you probably want a player like Sabitzer on the end of that, to be fair. So there might be a nice deal, a nice blend to be struck there. But of course also they've got goals across the pitch, the likes of Rashford as well. Bruno Fernandes, we know, contributes goals, and Sabitzer I think could contribute some as well. In his time at Bayern Munich though, it's not gone swimmingly. In the 54 appearances, 2 goals, 2 assists, and look, Bayern Munich have just had a plethora of good players as well. It's not really happened for him. Was it a free transfer, his move from Leipzig to Bayern Munich? But it's not happened for him. He's played in loads of positions. I mean, just looking across his career, he's played 135 times as a right winger. He's played as a left winger. He's played as a central midfielder. He's played as a second striker or a forward. He's played as a defensive midfielder. He's even played as a fullback. In fact, if I can just load this up, I'd like to see where most of his appearances for Bayern Munich and Leipzig have come. But there you go, a very complete midfielder who's played in lots of areas of the pitch and in lots of different positions. Let's see where he's played most of his football this season. Try and get that opened up on this iPad so we can see where he's been deployed mainly at Bayern Munich. But the important thing is here that Manchester United had to act. It went very stale for them after the Weghorst deal. They missed out on Gakpo. They got Weghorst in quite quickly after, and things went very quiet. And even then, United fans were calling for players. But once that Eriksen news came through, that tackle that's put him out, he's now going to be missing for a long time. It's sad for him because he's really, since the horrors of what happened at Euro 2020, and then unbelievable stint at Brentford, it got him that move to Manchester United. He's been such a crucial player for them and for Ten Hag. Really sad that he's going to be missing for a crucial part of the season for Manchester United. And that he's likely to miss that cup final. But I think it was important they address that, because midfield's been a real strength for Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes looks absolutely rejuvenated, revitalised under Erik Ten Hag. He's getting goals, he's pressing well, he's contributing to all phases of the pitch. You've got Casemiro, who's been a revelation. I mean, revelation. You'd expect a £70 million world-class midfielder who's won 5 Champions League, I think, to come in and have a really good impact, but he absolutely has. He's taken Manchester United a long way forward, and Sabitzer now, can come in and hopefully just keep things ticking for them. I think we've got, so he's played, largely as a central midfielder, 21 appearances as a central midfielder for Bayern Munich, once further up the pitch, once even at left back. But you look at some of the minutes he's had this season, I mean, not too many starts. Just trying to think. Oh, it looks like he started quite a lot of the games. Maybe the first 8 games he started, it looks about 6 of them potentially just based off the minutes he played. But as the season went on, I mean, you look from game week 10 where they played Freiburg, 14 minutes, 20 minutes after that, 30 minutes against Mainz, 12 minutes against Hertha Berlin, 33 against Werder Bremen, and 18 against Schalke, on the bench against Leipzig and Cologne, and then only a minute against Frankfurt. So and that tells you everything. He fell out of favour, there's no doubt about that. And it looks like they're willing to do a deal. I remember seeing last night, I think the Gravenberch, that name was thrown around. Another young, exciting player, but I think there were some links. So I think I saw Man United fans saying that perhaps they should go in for him, but it's Sabitzer they are picking up. 60 mil, not 70 mil, says Mustafa about the Casemiro deal. I think it was 70. I'm pretty sure it was 70. Jamie says he played more minutes at the start due to the Goretzka injury record, and Gravenberch should play more. Fair enough. Thank you. That's why I like doing these lives, because you can fill me in on the little bits I don't know and give me some context tools. I appreciate that. Yoza says our signings before and after Ten Hag are worlds apart in terms of signing players that we need. I know what you mean. He seems to have come and addressed things quite quickly. Maguire wasn't good enough, brought in Alessandro Martinez to play as that left-sided centre-back. You needed a new midfield. McTominay and Fred were not good enough. Pogba had injury problems and was leaving, and you brought in Eriksen and Casemiro. So I know what you mean. You have been addressing things. You needed some depth up front, and that's what you got in Wout Weghorst. You needed a left-footed, right-sided player in Anthony. I don't rate him massively, but I think his slow start might explain why a bit. But again, you needed that profile player. So he's been backed in the summer. It looks like it's going to be loans for January, but he is addressing those key positions, to be fair to him. Yoza says he definitely always struck me as the kind of player who has the right character. He's got so much international and Champions League experience too. I agree. A few people asked about Arsenal. Look, I'm not going to talk about Arsenal. There is a video and my thoughts on Jorginho. That's on the channel now, and I'll be live on AFTV and I think here later as well on DR Sports. So we will cover it in more detail then. G. Will says, now this is a player Arsenal should have gone for. I mean, I sort of understand, You think, well, why not? He's got the experience. He's a good age of 28. He's that maybe a complete midfielder that could also be depth for Xhaka or compete or whatever. But look, you can't go and get everyone. Arsenal's focus was Jorginho today. Manchester United out of nowhere have gone and got this deal done. Fair play to them. Hit the like button if you're enjoying this video. Hit the like button if you're happy that Sabitzer has joined Manchester United. Let's have a little look at the poll, which I've lost. We'll get the poll results in a second. Incredible signing, says United Ayub. I have watched Sabitzer. I'm a Bayern Munich fan. Jamie, give me your thoughts then. What do you think? Why do you think it didn't work out at Bayern Munich? Because they tend to be quite shrewd in the transfer market. Why do you think it hasn't worked? Kelly James says, I swear we could sign anyone right now and everyone would be gassed. That just shows you how much trust we have in Ten Hag. Kelly, I agree. And that's a similar kind of thing with Arsenal fans. I don't think they're all blown away at all by the Jorginho deal. But the fact that Arteta has got it so right, especially this season, but with recruitment in the last 3-4 windows, sort of tells you that, okay, we're probably going to just wait and see on this one and trust the manager, and I get that. Buzzing with a signing, good passing, shooting and pressing, says Adam. Yeah, he does strike me as a player with a lot of energy. Obviously, we talked about we addressed what you just said there about the good passing and shooting. I mean, the assist and the goal record tells you that, but when I look at him, seems a player with bundles of energy, a bit of a presence as well. I don't think he's supremely tall, but he's definitely got a bit of a presence in the way he presses, the way he moves, the way he runs with a purpose. So yeah, I think he'll do a job. Chelsea would have hijacked Sabitzer if United released the news earlier, says Epic Shot. Yeah, I mean they were linked, but all focus is on Enzo. It is. They just want to get Enzo Fernandez through the door, and the latest on that is that he's having a medical out in Portugal, but the deal hasn't been agreed, so they're doing it so that everything's ready just in case they strike a deal and they'll say, okay, fine, it's all sorted and that's all been taken care of and he's good to go. So we'll see about that. And Caicedo obviously isn't moving anywhere. Arsenal had the bids rejected. Chelsea had pursued him quite a bit in January, but he won't be going anyway. Shreth isn't happy. I chat to Shreth often on AFTV, always supported the channel. He says, what the actual... Am I allowed to swear? What the actual hell? I'll put James. How come we signed Jorginho? Man United signed Marcel Sabitzer. Different players? BS. He's a great midfielder. And we signed a 31-year-old Chelsea reject. Really unhappy. Shreth, okay. You're entitled to that opinion. I understand. I think Sabitzer is a profile that we could have really done within the squad. But then I ask you, okay, what... Then I ask you, with what Arteta's done, is there not a part of you that goes, look, he's not the one I wanted, but I trust the manager? If Arteta's happy with this deal, then shouldn't I to a degree? If you're not, fair enough. But I think it's only right you ask that question. Everyone else saying 60 million for Casemiro, so fair enough. My bad. What else have we got? Sabitzer's a great transfer, says Calamity. He plays better as a cam or right wing, defensive midfield and centre midfield. He isn't as creative from deep, says Jamie. That's interesting insight. So seems to be he sort of does his best in the final third, in more attacking areas. And look, with Antony not being at his best, sometimes they do tend to deploy. That's interesting. Okay, I thought this actually. So look at how Ten Hag against Man City and to end the game against Arsenal, I think moved Bruno Fernandes wide. He's done that a few times. I suppose this would allow him to bring Fred into the team, bring a winger off and not have to compromise Bruno being in that number 10, because it tends to be Bruno that's shoved out wide. I think because he's got a little bit more drive. He's a little bit more of a runner than Eriksen. So he tends to be the one that goes wide to then come inside and get into the pockets. And Eriksen keeps his place in midfield. I wonder whether you're going to see Bruno keep his place in the 10, Sabitzer go out wide, and then it will be Casemiro and Fred when he wants to deploy that kind of midfield against a better team. Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of that. That's an interesting one. Then he says, how's your Italian, James? Give George a welcome message. Yeah, I speak fluent Italian because my mum's Italian, and I've grown up speaking it all my life. I'm sure on AFTV I'll send him a welcome message in Italian. So Bits is an 8, not a 6, says AFC Cape Town. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the ultimate overarching point as to why we've gone for Jorginho, because El Nenny's injury now is likely going to keep him out for the rest of the season. Now, in that Xhaka role, you can play around. You can drop Smith Rowe there. You can move Zinchenko into midfield. You can even play Vieira there, as we've seen Arteta do in the Wolves game when we won 2-0 just before the World Cup. But as a 6, you can't really just make up that position. And Jorginho Sonia played it, arguably expertly for a long time. Is Cecil ready with Jorginho's welcome video? Asks the AFC Cape Town. He's definitely working it. Big sign for Man United, says Rodders007. You may want to put the currency you lot claiming he was 60 million, talk about Casemiro. Look, 60, 70, what does it matter? You paid a lot of money for him. It was around that. Sancho Martial back as well, says Anthony. Yeah, and there's options there for Man United. Now you're looking at Martial, Weghorst, Rashford, Anthony, Sancho could all play in that front 5. You've got Elanga still. You've got Sabitzer who can play out wide. Bruno's played out wide. So they've got options. They can play around. Oh, Garnacho. Forgot about Garnacho. You can do quite a lot in that sort of front 3. And then in midfield, okay, Eriksen's out. So for the majority of the season, we're looking at Casemiro, McTominay, Fred, who's improved under Ten Hag, in my opinion, and Sabitzer. So it's not bad. It's not bad at all. What else have we got? What else is everyone saying? Radcliffe's called me the hardest working man on YouTube. I'll take that, appreciate that. Casemiro's worth every penny, says Steve. Yeah, sure. Still paying a lot. I don't know what everyone's arguing with. 60 to 70, it was one of those. I've read 70 somewhere, it was 60, whatever. The point is, he spent a lot of money and he's been brilliant. So, should be delighted with him. I think they could complement each other quite nicely, because Eriksen at times, to allow the more robust central midfield alongside him being McTominay, we saw at the Emirates, or Casemiro, we've often seen him sit and let them get forward. Sabitzer, having played as a holding midfield, having played as a wing back, might be able to cover those areas a little bit better. You might find a nicer sort of dynamic and dynamism between them. Not saying it'll be better than Eriksen, but I think you might get something tactically that's quite interesting there. All right, then we're going to leave it there, everyone. I think this is a really smart bit of business for Manchester United. I think they had to react. They had to do something. They've learned about the extent of the injury. As I said, I think Ten Hag actually did a really good job in that press conference to just alleviate the pressure of it, alleviate the stress, to show a belief in his team, to get behind his team and the players he's got available. But an opportunity has come up for Sabitzer and they've gone and done it, so fair enough. Thank you, Steve. Says great show, James, as usual. Appreciate it, Steve. And look, I think clearly you're a Man United fan. I think United are in very, very good hands with Ten Hag, and I think this shows United being quite smart in the market, recognise they've got to do something, doing it, and getting a profile that adds something a little bit different but can really complement what they've got. As I said, you look how he can play on the right wing when he wants to play against those better teams. You look at the fact he can drop into a midfield three, can play in a base two with Casemiro, and you're getting him on loan. What's the risk? You may as well do it. So there we go. Sabitzer is joining Manchester United. He's on a flight, or about to get on a flight, something like that, to head to Manchester and the UK and get the deal done. And out of nowhere, I think around 1 PM today, we hadn't heard anything, and in the last 8-9 hours, Ten Hag and Manchester United have come through with some much needed depth for them. Of course, they've got Barcelona in the Europa League, and they're still in the FA Cup. They've got the Carabao Cup, and they've got top four to chase. There's a lot of football to be played for Manchester United. They need the numbers. All right, we'll leave it there. Hit the like button if you're happy that Sabitzer is joining Manchester United. Leave me your comments. Leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. We'll go through them and get some thoughts as we go live later tonight as well, to round off transfer deadline day and look at all the business that's been done. The final voting results were 86% being happy that Sabitzer is joining Manchester United. All right, we'll leave it there. Many thanks. Catch you soon.